Usually I'm not that fond of SUVs and crossovers. I don't think they look that very beautiful, and especially not small SUVs. They have their physics against them. They're high, they weigh some more than normal cars, and that has an impact on the overall performance. But people like these cars, that's why they sell so much. It's the segment that sells most cars. That's the SUV segment, especially crossover and the small SUV segments. When I first stepped into the Formentor VZ5, the 2-liter 4-cylinder, I really thought it was really on its toes. Very agile and really playful. And it felt like it was a car that really didn't want to be in the SUV segment. I mean, look at it. It's pretty small. It's not that big. When you park alongside other small SUVs, it feels just like a little hatchback. But it still is a small SUV. So it was really well connected to the road. And now they have beefed it up even more with this one, the VZ5. 5 stands for the 5 cylinders that comes from the Audi RS3, that one with the 400 horsepower engine. It also sits in the TT RS and the RS Q3. So it gives 390 horsepower, so 10 horsepower down. The V before Z stands for veloz, and that means speed in Spanish. It's very roary and it's very attacking in its attitude. So of course the performance is even a step higher. You get from 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds, 4.9 in the 310 horsepower engine, and the top speed is 250 kilometers an hour. So this Formentor comes with a variety of engines. You can get a 1.4 liter e-hybrid version with 204 horsepower, 4-wheel driven diesel version, 2 liter, 1.5 liter petrol engine with 150 horsepower and front wheel drive. Then there is the VZ category, where you can get a 245 horsepower e-hybrid version, the VZ 310 horsepower, 4-wheel driven 2 liter engine. And then there's this, the strongest of them all, and the strongest engine that ever sat in a Cupra. 5-cylinder Audi RS3 engine with 390 horsepower and 480 newton-meters of torque. This also sits 10 millimeters lower than the VZ310, and you also get 15 different settings for that adaptive damping that is in this car. And this has also got a new 4-wheel drive system with torque split. The VZ310, that 310 horsepower version, really fun car. You know, that is enough, 310 horsepower, 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds, and it's agile enough to have a lot of fun in. But this one, it's really a step up. And the big new thing about this, except from that 5-cylinder engine with 80 horsepower more, is the torque splitter. In the 310, there was an older Haldex system that was used. In this one, it has been improved. It divides the power a lot better and faster and more efficient to all individual wheels. That gives you a lot better turn-in in the corners, and it also provides you with a new system which is called drift mode, where all the power delivers to one of the back wheels for that perfect drift. And that is great, because when you want to do some sharp turn-ins in some corners, then you can feel that this is not as front wheel biased as the 310. Other driving modes in here that are available is comfort, there is off-road, then there is sport and Cupra for that more punchy feeling. And of course Cupra is the most aggressive one. And here you got the drift mode. And the individual mode, well, you can set everything to your taste and your own driving profile style. Steering is really sharp. It's very direct. It's got plenty of power in the bottom, and it's rather linear through the whole register. But in the middle, it's really got that mid-range power. So you can use all that torque when pushing yourself out of the corners. And it revs all the way up to 7,000 RPM. And you get these pops from the exhaust and a little crackle on the overrun. If you have on a high gear and you just hold this for a second, it'll go down to the very, very lowest gear. And that is pretty good. You just hold that left paddle, this button on the steering wheel, you get into Cupra. And all of a sudden, yeah, the engine comes alive and the acceleration becomes rather fierce. Let's do a launch here. Launch control. So 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds. And the top speed is 250 kilometers an hour. So it's a very, very fast car. And by sitting a bit higher, but at the same time not that super high, it gives you this very nice feeling of speed. But what it gives you is a presence of a very aggressive car, because a 5-cylinder engine has its own very distinct, specific and sharp noise which growls. So in this Cupra mode, well, this big scooped intake here, you get some lightweight carbon fiber parts to really distinguish it from the VZ310. This is more aggressive, and I think it looks really, really good. It's special. The design in profile is really, really harmonizing from the back to the front. You get some wider wheel archers back here, and it's a bit almost like off-roadish in its look as well. You get these 20-inch rims with some copper color in them, together with that black tone. This Taiga Gray color is also a bit special because there's only 999 made of these. So if you want to stick out a bit, then that's the color to choose. And these 18-inch stoppers are made by Akebono, which made the brakes and painted the brakes for the McLaren P1 and the Polestar 1. And once again, aggression right through and through. Diffuser back here in light carbon fiber. But you need to be a car spotter to recognize that this is the VZ5, apart from reading the VZ5 here. And that is the stacked exhaust pipes back here. And it brings back memories to that Lexus ISF that first came out with these stacked ones. And that is a bit special, and I think it's a bit of a homage. The rear window is not that very generous as well. You don't see out of it that much, and it gets very, very dirty. Something with the turbulence back here that makes it dirty very quick. The boot capacity is 410 liters, not the best in class, but it works. This car in Sweden costs 719,000 Swedish crowns. It's about 63,000 euros. When you look through the brochure of the Formentor, you can see that there are middle-aged and very good-looking people portrayed in it. And it feels like this is a car that should appeal to these type of people that want to have something extra, something special, something that looks very good, because it really does. And want to have something that is not that common and that you see on the road from day to day. And it's got the attributes both inside and out. And this model, well, it even got some go to it. Claimed combined consumption for this car is 10.2 liters per 100 kilometers. But you drive this a bit more actively and you do some accelerations, and that figure is a lot higher, of course. You don't expect anything else from a car like this. You buy this to have some more fun and to be a bit more active driver, to be that middle-aged, good-looking driver that wants to have that brilliant car that delivers power, performance, style, and that sticks out. And that is Cupra Formentor, and especially this VZ5. But the key attributes with this car is that when you attack these more demanding, curvy roads, you can really feel how it works through them with the torque splitter. Pushing that weight through these corners is rather amazing, actually. But it's very driver-orientated here in the Formentor. Sure, there is a lot of buttons here, and on this big screen you got a lot of settings, and you can do so much. But that doesn't draw your attention from the driving, because it's not that much in your face. I think it feels like it's more integrated. In some cars, these, you know, like these screens, they are rather high, and it's like, come play with me, that's the most important thing, let me show you all your gadgets. But it feels like that has its place there. Very smart in some way, because I have free vision out and looking over that cool bonnet. And the digital cluster here, well, you just set your view. You know, you can have the rev counter on the left, the speedometer on the right. You can change it so you got them but in a different shape. You can get your navigation system, and you can have the distance to your car, just the speedometer. But I like to have this big rev counter. That's more sporty, because you want to feel what type of revs and when to push in the next gear. In here it feels very, very athletic, and I think the materials feels good as well. It's almost as it gets closer to Audi feeling in some parts here. It feels like it's pretty rigid in most of the components, and it's not that very, very plastic. There's some plastic here, and of course you can find it here, but apart from that, it looks really good. You get a lot of driving modes here on this 12-inch screen, which is very, very quick. You might feel that, wow, there's a lot of stuff to learn here, but it's pretty intuitive, and you get to learn it rather well. You get this from the Volkswagen group, those sliders, which is a bit annoying. But at the top here, you just push one of them. You get into your climate controls, you get into your heated seats. So you don't really need to bother with sliding that much on these ones. So I like that. I think it works rather well. The steering wheel, I think this one is perfect. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. It gives you a perfect grip. You don't slide out of it. And it really looks good with these copper-colored sewing all around. There's a lot of buttons here, of course, and you can change your view in your cluster here. Nice graphics. You get G-meter, you get that big rev counter, or you can have your speedometer at one side, and your navigation and everything. You also get this little badge here, which says VZ5. 97 of 999. So when you step out, you can feel a bit proud by looking at that and feel that you have a bit more exclusive car. The sound system in the car is Beats Audio, and you get 340 watts out of 9 speakers around in here. The back seat. Oh, you get to see these nice seats. You just want to hug them. They look really, really good. You get some charging points here, and you can also change your temperature a little back here. But I think it looks good here because there's a lot of this leather and this Nappa leather as well. It's a nice color with this brown. And also, look at the sides here. That feels good. It's just not plastic. Of course, plastic here, but they are pretty sporty, these seats back here. So you can hold on when someone wants to drive a bit more active. Sure, I've pushed my seat somewhat forward now in a more racy position, but look at the leg room. Good for your knees, and you can also stretch your feet underneath that seat. 2 cup holders here. It's good. It grows on you, and that very quickly. The Formentor is a bit of a thrill when you get to drive it a bit harder, because you need to. Otherwise it shows no drama or real show, but it sure does prove how well it handles on roads that really demands a good car to tackle them right. It has some weight to it, but it's very well hidden, and that new torque split together with a 5-cylinder RS engine just transforms it into a car in a different league compared to its weaker brother, the VZ310. It looks great, it feels small, but yet okay when it comes to space and practicality. It really is the most special Cupra in its little muscular package. I didn't think I would like it this much. It's like a rally car, but one that prefers track driving, but at the same time is a comfortable transporter. Well, it does it all. I need to try it out on a summer dry circuit as well. Job well done, Cupra.